Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please let's go to the headlines.
Tonight, breaking news: an attack at a pedestrian mall in Boulder, Colorado, possibly with multiple victims. The FBI director is calling it a targeted attack. The details are just coming in. Officers responding to the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder. Top FBI officials describe this as an act of terror and targeted violence. Several blocks near the mall have been evacuated. Also tonight, the smoke from Canadian wildfires burning out of control, triggering air quality alerts in the upper Midwest, where the smoke is heading and when. Plus, the relentless storms in the southern plains and the central U.S. right in the bullseye for more severe weather in the next 48 hours. Our weather team times it all out. A massive drone strike by Ukraine blowing up dozens of Russian warplanes. How they managed to sneak drones over the border. New video shows the drones emerging from shipping containers and then destroying many of Russia's long-range bombers. Moscow launched its own massive drone attack, and President Trump said to be frustrated with both sides. The war in Gaza takes another deadly turn. Dozens of Palestinians killed near an aid distribution site. What the Israeli military is saying about the shooting. The chaotic scene in North Carolina. Police say at least 80 shots were fired at a house party packed with high school students. One killed, at least 11 others injured. What we're learning about the investigation. The spending battle heats up in Washington. The so-called One Big Beautiful Bill barely passed the House, and it faces an uncertain future in the Senate. Nonpartisan analysts say it could add trillions to the national debt. House Speaker Mike Johnson denies it, and the Republican senator who was jeered over what she said about Medicaid cuts. Outrage tonight after ICE detains a high school student who was on his way to volleyball practice. How a 2-year-old wound up on a luggage conveyor belt at Newark Airport, and how the child was rescued. Why a powerful storm on the sun could lead to a brilliant sky show in some unexpected places on Earth. And America strong tonight. After a devastating accident, doctors weren't sure if he'd ever walk again, but his determination proved otherwise.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight. Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. Republicans were in the wilderness after President Obama won, and so-called experts shared free advice, which was worth exactly what we paid for it. And now Democrats are in the slough of defeat. If Jasmine Crockett is a thought leader of the party, Democrats will stay in the wilderness longer than Moses did.
I mean, he literally sounds like someone who is broken out of the insane asylum. Like, he just be all over the place. Like, get him some ADHD medicine, if nothing else, because I don't know where he's ever going to go. It is time for Republicans to start calling him out and start questioning his mental acuity and whether or not he is equipped to serve mentally. We know when it comes down to his criminality, he is not qualified to serve. But this is just absolutely deplorable.
You know, it's hard to know where to start with Ms. Crockett. She mocked the governor of Texas for being paralyzed. She conflates attention deficit disorder with insanity, which is both cruel and medically stupid. What she's really saying is that a majority of her fellow citizens voted for someone who's insane. So what does that make us? Here's some free political advice. Insulting voters typically is not a pathway to success. Joining us are Ben Domenech, editor-at-large at The Spectator, and Kevin Walling, a Democrat strategist. Welcome to you both, gentlemen. Kevin, I have been around you both on and off air, and I have never heard you utter a mean-spirited comment in the whole time I've known you. Ms. Crockett belittled a paralyzed governor, conflates attention deficit disorder with insanity. There's clearly another way. I've never heard you do any of that. Is that really the path to winning national elections, to mock a guy in a wheelchair?
It isn't, Trey, and it's good to be with you. Listen, I think you actually give Congresswoman Crockett good advice. It's never a good idea to insult voters or to question why it is that they support one party or the other. You know, I'm married to a Republican from South Carolina. I just flew back from our home in South Carolina.
On this Sunday night, chaos and confusion in Gaza. Israel accused of firing into crowds clamoring for aid.
Stop the war. What have people done to deserve this, dying every day?
The IDF's response, alleging fake news. Ukraine claims a stunning attack on Russian forces. How Operation Spiderweb allegedly destroyed dozens of warplanes. Canada's first ministers meet in Saskatchewan with energy and the economy top priorities. And the last day for the Bay. Maybe I can get some nice shirts or something like that. Customers bid the retailer a fond farewell.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Chris Galis.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. We start with breaking news and what the FBI is calling a terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Several people were injured. Some may even have been set on fire, according to witnesses. The attack took place at a pedestrian mall where demonstrators had gathered to call for the release of hostages who remain in Gaza. One man was taken into custody. Boulder police say it's too early to discuss a possible motive, but that witnesses are being interviewed. Now, there are disturbing and conflicting.
Tonight, breaking news in Colorado. A pro-Israel gathering comes under attack. Multiple people injured outside a local mall. The governor calling it a heinous act of terror.
It's super dramatic. I'm like totally shook up right now.
Also tonight, a bloody day in Gaza. Dozens of civilians killed near a food distribution center.
I'm NPS Time in Tel Aviv. The Israeli military denies anyone was killed in the incident, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
Surprise attack. Ukrainian drones smuggled inside Russia strike dozens of bombers at multiple air bases. Spreading smoke.
I'm Josh Crabb of the CBC in Nepal, Manitoba. Canada says it's maxed out resources to fight the ferocious, fast-moving fires as smoke spreads to several U.S. states.
A high school athlete competes at California State Championships, where this year's contest included protests and threats. And later, our weekend journal and a retirement to note. Who can remember why this third grade teacher's last days on the job are just as newsworthy as her first?
I just remember standing in front of this line of little faces going, oh my God, they're depending on me.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York with Jerika Duncan.
Tonight on PBS News Weekend, on the first day of the Atlantic hurricane season, we look at the staff cuts, turmoil, and low morale at the federal agencies that forecast, track, and respond to storms. Then a new study says the risk of cancer from CT scans may be higher than previously known. And World Pride celebrations underway in the nation's capital in the shadow of Trump administration policies targeting the community.
The Trump administration wants us to disappear, and really showing up for World Pride is a direct no to that request.
Culture hits the spotlight on France 24.
Hello and a very warm welcome if you're just joining us here at Daybreak. These are the headlines this hour. The votes counted. It is the Conservative nationalist candidate that wins Poland's presidential polls. Karol Nawrocki winning in what was an extremely tight race that pitted him against a pro-EU mayor of Warsaw. The biggest offensive by Ukraine in the war, Kyiv carries out a huge drone attack well inside Russia, an assault that is said to have taken months in planning and involved smuggling drones across the border. It comes as another round of talks are scheduled to take place. And a world first, Mexico votes to elect all of the country's judges. Turnout low, however, just 13%, said to be due to widespread confusion surrounding the election and concerns that the ballot is a bid by political parties in power to take ever more control.
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock. Our top story, a man shouting "Free Palestine" attacks a pro-Israel rally in Colorado with a makeshift flamethrower.
Plus, it's a huge day for the government and the armed forces. The Prime Minister will announce the results of a defence review this morning. And the family of missing Falkirk teenager Cole Cooper appeal for help. Will speak to his brother.
It is Monday, the 2nd of June. Several people are injured in a fire attack on a pro-Israel rally in Colorado.
It is clear that this is a targeted act of violence, and the FBI is investigating this as an act of terrorism.
The UK government says it's sending a message to Putin with 12 new attack submarines. We'll hear from the Prime Minister later on this morning. A new round of peace talks is meant to take place between Russia and Ukraine later on today, just hours after President Zelensky launched an audacious drone attack deep inside Russia. Sky News joins Greater Manchester Police as they investigate illegal cannabis factories inside suburban homes. Good morning. Several people have been injured in a fire attack on a pro-Israel rally in Boulder, Colorado in the US.
Today, the Prime Minister rejects pressure from the United States to boost defence spending to 3.5% of GDP.
What you should do in defence is decide what you need, your capability, and then provide for it.
The coronial findings into the death of Kumanjai Walker delayed following the death in custody of another Indigenous man from the same NT community. Kiev launches a surprise strike on 40 of the Kremlin's warplanes on the eve of ceasefire negotiations in Istanbul. And Football Australia says it's found the right person for the job, unveiling Joe Montemuro as the new coach of the Matildas. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Catherine Robinson. The Prime Minister has brushed off a demand from the United States to massively boost defence spending. The US Defence Secretary, Pete Hegseth, says he told Defence...
This is Asia Now.
Hello, it's 2 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi, 1 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Angela Lin. At this hour, Russia and Ukraine prepare for another round of peace talks in Turkey, a day after one of the biggest drone battles of the war. Trade tensions between the world's biggest economies on the rise. The U.S. accuses China of violating a tariff deal, but Beijing hitting back, rejecting what it calls unreasonable accusations. And a look at how global airline leaders plan to steer the aviation industry through fuel hikes, supply strains, and soaring demand as they land in India's capital, New Delhi, for the International Air Transport Association's Peace Summit.
Britain's news channel.
Hello there, very good morning. The Prime Minister on a mission to boost Britain's defence capabilities today.
The government's sweeping review will promise new attack submarines, more munitions, and a cutting-edge cyber command unit.
A new approach on defence, a revival of our industrial base, a deepening of our alliances, the instruments of our national power brought together.
All that, but Keir Starmer says no extra spending, and already facing criticism for empty rhetoric, has he just stepped into a political minefield?
Well, certainly 12 new attack submarines, £15 billion to renew our nuclear nuclear warhead program sounds very ambitious, but as yet, no firm commitment that we will rise to 3% of GDP.
Breaking news
We saw
overnight.
burn marks and we had seen smoke from far away. And it's really scary and it's really upsetting that it's happening in Boulder.
Breaking news overnight. The FBI is investigating what it calls a targeted terror attack in Colorado. A man allegedly hurled petrol bombs at a pro-Israel event, leaving 6 people injured.
Gone away, but I haven't, and I'm watching. I'm waiting on this because I knew I was right at the time.
Residents in a Lancashire town have been warned not to eat food from their gardens and fears of dangerous levels of a cancerogenic chemical. We'll have the very latest for you on that shortly.
All going on a summer holiday.
Or are you? Well, new analysis finds the cost of half-term flights has tripled in the past 25 years. Is it time for the government to crack down on holiday price hikes?
And talking of summer, the season officially started yesterday. The Met Office says warmer days and possible heat waves are on the way. So, goody.
And in sport this morning, in cycling, Britain's Simon Yates wins a remarkable Giro d'Italia. In cricket, Joe Root's become England's greatest ever one-day international run scorer as England beat the West Indies by 3 wickets. And Paris Saint-Germain bring the Champions League trophy back to Paris for the first time.
Well, there's plenty of sunshine out there today, but it is going to be turning increasingly wet and windy later. I'll have all the details coming up shortly.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Monday morning. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, you're very welcome. I'm Eamon Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Africa News. The news.
Gabon is set to stop exporting raw manganese by 2029 as part of a national strategy to boost local industry and reduce dependency on unprocessed resource exports. The government announced the move as part of efforts to transform its economy. Manganese, alongside oil and timber, is one of Gabon's top revenue sources. The country is currently the world's second largest producer of the mineral. By halting raw exports, Gabon aims to develop its domestic processing capacity, create jobs and a public-private investment fund is also being planned to support the transition. In a similar move, the government will ban chicken meat imports from 2027 to encourage local poultry production. Despite being one of the wealthiest per capita, a significant portion of the population continues to live in poverty. The new policies are part of broader reforms aimed at reducing economic inequality and building a more self-reliant future. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, pressure is mounting on Justice Minister Constant Mutamba after explosive allegations over a multi-million-dollar no-bid contract and suspicious fund transfers. On Tuesday, lawmakers grilled the Attorney General for 6 hours and Mutamba for 5. The focus, a $29 million deal awarded without competition and a $19 million payment to Zion Construction, wired just 1 day after the company opened its bank account. The funds didn't come from the state treasury, but from Free Vao, the agency managing $325 million in war reparations from Uganda. That agency falls under Mutamba's direct authority. Defending himself, the minister admitted to errors and asked for forgiveness, but claimed he's the target of political revenge. He also blamed tensions with Prime Minister Judith Suminwa for a toxic work climate. Lawmakers say the accusations are serious and the judiciary must be allowed to act. Mutamba's future in government now hangs in the balance. As ceasefire talks continue between Hamas and international mediators, Palestinians in Gaza say they're desperate for an end to the war. After nearly 20 months of fighting and weeks under blockade, many are pleading for calm and the basic chance to
suffered. We died of it. No Arab cares about us. Thank God. We hope to God that we will get rid of this war. We want to stop the bloodshed. We don't want aid from anyone. We will plant and feed ourselves. We hope to God that the bloodshed in Gaza will stop. The massacres that are taking place daily. We are exhausted. I swear to God, we are exhausted. The fundamental demand of every Palestinian, young and old, is to stop the war and establish calm so that aid can reach the people properly. Hamas is calling for key amendments to a US-backed ceasefire plan, including guarantees for aid delivery, withdrawal of Israeli forces, and a timeline for hostage releases. Our only hope is in God, not in anyone else on this earth. There's no food, no water, and we can't take it anymore. As people, we are exhausted and broken. A proposed 60-day ceasefire would include hostage exchanges and increased humanitarian access. Good for Gaza's 2 million residents. Many say the need is urgent and their hope is quickly fading. Elon Musk is stepping down from his temporary role leading the Department of Government Efficiency, ending a controversial chapter in Washington. President Donald Trump thanked Musk in the Oval Office on Friday, crediting him with shaking up the bureaucracy. Musk is returning full-time to his business empire, including Tesla, SpaceX, and social platforms.
My tweets a few days. So that it comes with a time limit. But the Doge team will only grow stronger over time. The Doge influence will also grow stronger. It's I liken it to sort of Buddhism. It's like a way of life. So it is permeating throughout the government, and I'm confident that over time we'll see $1 trillion of savings and a reduction in $1 trillion of waste and fraud reduction.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.